Good morning, everybody. Here's my screen. How are we doing? So I wanted to go through the basics of a WM formation. We've been using this. A friend of mine, he actually mentioned this a couple of years ago in terms of a box, but it goes back to an old formation that used to be used a lot in the 50s and was very expansive until Italian soccer sort of took a hold and it turned into a bit more of a defensive game, and lots of teams started then looking at four at the back, those kind of things. But the WM formation is something I played with some of our teams and really enjoyed it as a coach. There's a few things to consider, but I'll go through the basics. So basically it's three at the back, two holding midfield players, two CDMs, two attacking central midfield players, a left wing back / left winger, or right wing back / right winger, and a centre forward. So that's the basic structure. Now, we all want to just talk about real quickly that with most formations, of course, things start off, looking like this on a piece of paper, but within 2 seconds of kickoff, things move and things change. And so at any given time, you could probably find a way to see any formation within any team. And a good example is this. On the other side, we've got the 4-3-3, which could be a 4-2-3-1, which could be, a 4-1-4-1, which could be a 4-5-1. Those types of things. It could also be three at the back when, fullbacks get forward, that kind of thing. It could be three at the back with both fullbacks gone and the CDM dropping into that spot just there. So, again, formations are, for me, a blueprint. We just need to match them to the attributes of the particular players and obviously the score and the tactics or the style of game that you would like to play. 4-5-1 sits out the best because that would be that sort of counter-attacking type of style that we've seen lots of teams adopt against good teams, and sometimes even they don't even leave anyone up front. Everyone gets behind the ball and they break out just through lines as much as they can. So anyway, to move on, the WM, the 3-2-2-3. I think that might be a formation in FIFA, so that makes it definitely official. But there's a few things to consider. First of all, three at the back obviously is important. I remember, I think it was Graham Lasso talking about this when he was playing for England, and the fact that I believe that a lot of times people would consider these left-sided central defenders to be primarily central defenders, and he spoke about, because I think he played in this position here at times for England, but he spoke about this, that at times they're expected to go there and deal with a crafty winger or a quick guy or a quick player or whatever it might be. So they've got to have some sort of fullback qualities as well. They can't just be 6'6" and be good in the air and strong in a tackle, because they'll just get burned on the side of the field. So I thought that's important. Big, not towering necessarily, but big, strong central defender, obviously important. The width of these three players across the back's important. They would expect to shift over. If we put a ball on the field, of course that would be important, because usually we play with a soccer ball. So ball on this side of the field. We would expect at this point that players would. Do we want two balls? Probably not. I told you I'm not good at this stuff sometimes. Shame on me. Terrible. But we would expect that these players would slide over. This central defender here, sort of those types of things. That's not too dissimilar to the back shape of a back four, and we just probably have someone else fill in. So again, they'd slide over based on where the ball is on the field. So again, there's your back three, obviously goalkeeper as well included. Two CDMs. I don't think that's too different to what most teams might play with. Certainly in a 4-2-3-1. I think for me that sort of popped up for, not popularity, that's the wrong word, but that popped up in terms of prominence. With the Chelsea teams in the early 2000s with Mourinho, they just play with Drogba right up front and two holders. We played that with before, and for me personally, if your fullbacks don't get forward, it's incredibly defensive, and it's tough to find ways to go and attack with just four players. So anyway, but there's the two holding midfield players, two attacking central midfield players, and that's really the crux of this. Two wide sort of wing backs, hopefully they can come back and help, depending on how you want to play, but there's the right side and there's the left side, and then a centre forward, ideally a centre forward that's good at coming and showing in channels and playing with the back to goal. But I would say with this formation, based on these two players, in terms of their abilities, it could be that this player's sort of the icing on the cake and high up the field and just waiting to get on the edge of defenders. Anyway, so we played this a lot, and it's incredibly fun to play with, and lots of teams. I saw Barcelona not too long ago talking about this 5 and 5 concept. So if we were to draw a line down the middle of the formation here, we're essentially assigning 5 players some form of defensive role, right? Really simple to understand that, right? You stay behind the ball overall, that's the plan. And these 5 players will assign them an attacking role. So that gets a little easier. One of the reasons why we gravitated towards this with some of the teams we've worked with is because we found that if we were playing with, say, a traditional right back, you know, and let's say the ball is on this side of the field with a left winger in a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, this right back, if they're required to get through this middle third of the field and then this final third of the field, it wouldn't happen fast enough. So let me just replay this. Let's say left-sided central defender here. Let's say this is a left back, you know, in a 4-2-3-1, right? So there we've got 4 defenders, 2 holding mids, attacking centre mid, centre forward, left winger, right winger, right? So this ball goes, say, there, all right? So it's moved up a little bit. It's now with your left back. Left back travels with the ball, a little bit of space to move into. Centre forward then shows for a ball in a channel. Nice little bit of width here from this player, gives that centre forward usually a bit more room. And this centre forward can turn. It's at that point that the centre forward starts to look into this area of the field or whatever else. We would find that players that we work with wouldn't recognise early enough that this is safe. So this to this to this to this. They won't recognise that as they're watching that, there's a great chance, there's a percentage chance, there's 80-90% chance that we're going to get into this position, say just here. That wouldn't happen. So what happens then is they then react to the fact that now this player is turning around and looking for help. And it's at that point there that they start to go. Or maybe the right back starts to go. Or maybe the attacking central midfield player starts to go. But it's too late. The next level of players start to recognise the probability that this thing's going to work out. Look at Premier League players, right? Let's just replay this, right? Ball to there, into there, as he's going. And now we're saying, can this player turn as he gets it? Or she gets it? Can they? Looks like they can. This player's already potentially gone. And this player's joined in. And the attacking centre mid has now just gone up one as well. And now the right midfield player's coming here. And let's look at Arsenal. There's Ben White in there, and there's Saka right there. So that's already happened. And then this person turns around, and look what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in attack, right? Including the person on the ball. It doesn't matter that person's a centre forward. So we found that intelligence or that understanding of probability to when to go forward wasn't happening fast enough. So we made it simple for our players, and yes, you know, a tiny bit riskier, I'll give you that. Let's get these, because I labelled these guys, so let me put them in the right spots for you. Cam, right wing back, and it should be the right back. Okay, so what we did, we made it a little simpler for the players. We just said, listen, you're an attacking type of player, right? You're a cam, or you're a right winger, or whatever else. This 5, and you're the defensive types. So let's just go through we've gone through the basics of what it looks like. Let's just go through some of the attributes. So in order for this to be really, really beneficial and to work, these 2 players have to be brilliant, slow the game down players. They cannot be caught the wrong side of the ball. They can't be caught upfield, unless of course you're chasing the game. But in general, you can't leave 3 central defenders exposed to what's likely to be 3 forwards, you know. So these 2 have a huge role in terms of off the ball. We don't have the ball. They are responsible for slowing it down. While that happens, we get a little help from that player or that player, depending on what's going on. Usually the offside, the weak side, as people say in America, this person could drop in there. Usually it happens. One of the attacking centre mids comes in and drops in one of their centre mids, and we're okay. We're back into a good shape, as people say a lot these days. That's another story. I think it's overused. But anyway, so you end up being guys. These 2 players have to be really, really good at slowing the game down and being delayers of the other team, or else you just get attacked all the time on counters. All right, so that's from the defensive side of things. These three we've spoken about. Left wing back, it depends on your MO, but if we're saying that this is an attacking type of formation, and from what we've seen in 3 years, it really is, with our groups. Yeah, go stay wide, go get involved, go make things happen, go shake and bake, go score goals, go cross the ball in the box. Same with the right-sided player. Whether you invert these players, so you have a lefty on the right side and a righty on the left side, that's your call. And then centre forward, obviously we spoke a little bit about that, scoring all sorts of goals, back to goal a little bit, getting in on the end. But this formation really, I think, hits another level. I think that's another overused statement when we talk about the attacking central midfield players. And this is what we absolutely love to coach, because this presents something that's entirely different to what other teams have seen. The trade-off is that we play with 3 at the back and 2 high wing-backs. Right? That's the risk. Again, these 2 players have to slow things down and be good and fill in holes and get involved there and defend. But if this person's high up the field, this person's high up the field, so we're not going from a 3 to a 5, these 2 players do a good job. These 2 players have the very best opportunity to really cause them trouble. And here's why. So let's just slide the other team up. They're centre forward, and again, I've put them in some form of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1, that kind of thing. Let's go centre mid, centre forward, centre mid, left midfield player, left back, central defender. And we need some degree of relevance regarding where the ball's at. Okay, so let's just talk about putting the ball, this player here. Okay, so these are the training sessions that we ran in this formation that really was just superb. And again, this is what do we do on the ball kind of scenario. So what do we do? What are your choice of pass right now as a 3 at the back, or starting out here? Let's say it starts with a goalkeeper even. And let's just talk about the things that can happen. All right. So this player might come here and get this pass. Let's just say that happens. All right, great. What does this player do and what does this player do? Centre forward for them. Does he block off the central defender or come in here? If he comes in here, central defender is an option. Right. If that person wants to jump on the central defender, great. We'll just make sure the central midfield players have a position to receive a ball and we're out. Right? Or maybe the ball goes in there. Okay, so send forward back in there, ball in here. This person, that's if this person jumps. Okay, so that is the where are we at? That's one of the centre mids, the attacking centre mid. What happens if it's this player? And this is, I think, we use the word ambiguous, right? So this is where we just need to make sure that this player here isn't ambiguous. Right? If this person takes a decent angle to block off that pass, don't be ambiguous. Either you can come long here and maybe that just means that the attacking centre mid gets it, or come in here and make an angle to get around this player. And at that point there, we're out. Done. Right? So they're basics. That's obvious, I think. Where the cool thing happens is when we start to see teams look like this and they start to try and find a way to close this off. Because at that point there, we've created some cool things, and we can already see it in the middle of midfield. The diagram's not great, but if we've got the quality or the ability, this ball can find another centre mid right there, and we've found the weak side central midfield player here. Often it's actually been one of these players just dropping in, so this player might come there, and it's this one coming dropping in, so that pass has been on. So teams talk about switching the play. That's probably a 25-yard pass. Right? As long as they can beat 3 players, that's pretty good. Right? But if we just look at the basics of the numbers in here, let's say that we have possession in the middle of midfield with a CDM. Okay, so CDM's got time on the ball right now. Here's their attacking central midfield player. Okay, great. We've now got, if we just look at this box here, 4 versus 3. And that is it. In a world where 3 versus 2 can be a tricky thing, we just up this and say, well, if you're going to play with 3 in there, we're going to play with 4. Now, does that make it crowded? It does when we defend, but what we can start to do are things like this. So let's ask now this 3 to defend that. What are you going to do? If they just sit in and go player for player and mark in there, well, great. Our guy's going to move up the field. We can move into that space. This guy comes in, pick him off. And we'd use that phrase. Just pick him off. He's done. What next? You know, and it just continues. I just made the ball massive. Look at that. I never said I was good with my touchpad. Anyway, okay, so let's say that this guy doesn't do that, and he's marked by this guy. Great. Now it's angles. We see it happening already. Boom. We're done in there. Well, great. What happens if this person pinches in there? Great. Can this central midfield player ping that ball there? Now, all of this is predicated on the fact that they're wing backs, or they're wide players in a 4-3-3. I want to try and find a way to stay high up the field. But if we're doing this kind of thing, and they've now got a concern here, because there's 2-on-1s on the side of the field, and they end up like this, great. We've just pinned them back. And we've still got 4 in the middle of the field versus their 3. Okay? To try and deal with them. There's that 4 and there's that 3. So we spend lots of times finding ways to have central midfield players, the attacking central midfield players, be able to turn in pockets of space. Once we get higher up the field, we talk about one of them stretching and one of them showing, and then just do the opposite of that. So if this whole thing was higher up the field, we just ask them to do that. It is such a fun formation to work with. We've really enjoyed it. Now, you have to have the attacking ability. You have to have 3 strong central defenders. You have to have 2 really good CDMs. We spoke about things where CDMs on the ball would look like this. Risky, right? Well, what team, or what's the team going to do to defend against this? We have this one just underneath the ball a tiny bit. So this person comes there. This person goes there. You can see what's happening. Great, look at that room. Well, what are you going to do, dude? I don't know why I said it that way. But what are you going to do? Stand between them both? Right? Come in there. What if this person gives this person something to worry about? And all of a sudden, look at that. You've marked that one. You've picked that guy. This one's now there. And why does it work? Because most other teams don't want to go 1v1 with central defenders at the back. That could happen for them, right? That could come in there. Centre back doesn't want to do that right now, especially if you've got a good centre forward. And now they're 1v1 at the back. Another drawback, of course, is that we accept that we are at times going to go 1v1 at the back. Our central defender has to be really good. Okay, there's their centre forward, there's our centre back. As long as we also coach these players coming in behind, or this person coming in, and this person again is a delaying type central defender, we're okay. But it's on the ball that this formation really makes it fun. So there we go. There's a lot of information right there. I could talk all day about this, but that's some basics of the WM, the 4-2-2-3. We love it, and we'll see you again for the next one. And again, this is Soccer Profile. I do my work on here. Love the platform, and we're partnering with Stuart and Gary Monk to bring some other stuff your way. Cheers. Happy Wednesday.